7. Step Guide to Stoicism. Transform your life forever. Have you ever felt like life's chaos is just too much to handle? Maybe you've found yourself caught in an endless loop of stress, anxiety, or frustration, always trying to control things that are completely out of your hands. I get it. Life can feel overwhelming, especially when we're constantly chasing after things that we think will make us happy. Success, approval, material possessions. But what if I told you that you could transform your life without needing to change any of those things? What if the key to peace, joy, and fulfillment isn't about the next big achievement or the latest trend, but about how you choose to respond to life? What if you could face every challenge with calm and clarity, no matter how tough things get? That's where Stoicism comes in. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Stoicism. Isn't that some old philosophy from thousands of years ago? Well, yes, it is. But here's the thing. Stoicism is not some dusty relic of the past. It's a living, breathing philosophy that's just as powerful today as it was in ancient Greece and Rome. And let me tell you, it can transform your life. Forever. Imagine waking up every day with a sense of inner peace that no external circumstance can shake. Picture yourself dealing with challenges, not by getting frustrated or overwhelmed, but by calmly analyzing, accepting, and adapting to whatever life throws at you. You won't need to waste energy on things that are out of your control anymore. Instead, you'll focus on what you can change: the way you think, the way you act, and the way you respond to the world. In this video, I'm going to take you through a simple, yet powerful 7-step guide to Stoicism. Steps that will not only change how you look at the world, but also how you experience it. So, if you're ready to stop reacting to life's chaos and start mastering it, stick around. This could be the game changer you've been searching for. Let's dive in. Part 1. Embrace the dichotomy of control. All right. Let's jump straight into the first step of Stoicism, the dichotomy of control. Now, this might sound a little abstract at first, but stick with me. It's one of the most freeing concepts you'll ever come across. Here's the deal. There are two things in life: what we can control and what we can't. The tricky part? We often confuse the two. We spend so much time, energy, and mental resources trying to control things that we have absolutely no power over. And guess what? It only leads to frustration, anxiety, and burnout. Think about it. How many times have you stressed out about someone else's behavior, or worried about an outcome that was completely out of your hands? Maybe you've stayed up all night stressing over a big presentation or meeting, just to find out that the result doesn't depend on you at all. It's someone else's decision, and in the end, you're left feeling defeated, helpless, and, most importantly, exhausted. This is where the dichotomy of control comes in. It's simple, but incredibly powerful. According to Stoicism, we only have control over one thing: our own actions. Everything else, other people's reactions, the weather, the economy, the past, the future, is out of our control. So instead of stressing about things you can't change, Stoicism teaches you to focus on what is in your hands: your thoughts, your responses, your efforts. Here's the kicker. When you accept that you can't control everything, the pressure lifts. You stop feeling like a puppet, tugged around by external forces. You realize that your peace of mind is not dependent on what happens outside of you, but on how you choose to react. Here's an example. Think of a situation where you're stuck in traffic. You can't control the cars ahead of you, the driver cutting you off, or the red lights. But you can control how you respond to it. You can get angry, frustrated, and upset. Or you can use the time to practice patience, listen to a podcast, or just breathe. The choice is yours. Takeaway. The key to happiness isn't trying to control everything around you. It's about mastering the one thing you can control: yourself. Once you internalize this, life becomes less about reacting to what happens to you and more about how you choose to respond. Part 2. Practice negative visualization. Now let's dive into a Stoic practice that might seem a little strange at first, but trust me, it's a game changer. It's called negative visualization, and it's all about imagining the worst-case scenario. Sounds kind of grim, right? But stick with me because this practice can actually help you build gratitude, reduce fear, and prepare you for life's inevitable ups and downs. Here's how it works. Negative visualization is the practice of mentally imagining what life would be like if you lost everything. It's about acknowledging that everything you have, your health, your job, your loved ones, your material possessions, is temporary. The point isn't to dwell on the negative, but to get comfortable with the idea of loss, so that when things do go wrong, as they inevitably will, you'll be mentally prepared to handle it. Now, before you start thinking, wait a minute, I don't want to think about the worst-case scenario, let me explain. This isn't about being morbid or pessimistic. It's about understanding the impermanence of things and learning to appreciate them fully while you have them. By actively visualizing the worst, you're teaching your mind to appreciate what you have right now, before it's gone. Here's a personal example. I remember a time when I was deeply attached to a certain job, thinking it was the key to my happiness and success. One day, I took a moment to imagine what life would be like if I lost it. What would I do? How would I cope? It was uncomfortable, but it also made me realize just how much I took my current situation for granted. After that, I started focusing less on the fear of losing something and more on appreciating everything I had in that moment. And when I eventually did face challenges or setbacks, I was better equipped to handle them. Here's a concrete example. Imagine your phone breaks. For some of us, this is devastating. We panic. We feel disconnected, lost. But what if, before you even buy the new phone, you take a moment to imagine a life where you're completely without it? You might realize that, yes, it's inconvenient, but it's not the end of the world. And when you do get the new phone, you'll appreciate it more than ever before. Takeaway: negative visualization isn't about hoping for the worst, it's about preparing yourself for it. The more you think about what you could lose, the more you learn to appreciate what you have in the present. And when life throws you curveballs, as it will, you'll be mentally stronger and more grateful for what's left. Part 3. Cultivate virtue as the highest good. Let's talk about something fundamental: virtue. Now, if you've heard of Stoicism before, you probably know that Stoics believe virtue is the highest good. But what does that really mean? In simple terms, virtue is about being the best version of yourself. It's not about being perfect. It's about striving to live a life based on wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These 4 qualities form the foundation of Stoic ethics. And here's the thing. If you focus on cultivating these virtues, everything else falls into place. Your happiness, your sense of fulfillment, and your inner peace all come from how virtuous you are, not from external success or material gains. Let me ask you this. What would it look like if you made virtue the center of your life? Imagine that your primary goal every day was to be a good person, to act wisely, bravely, justly, and with self-control. What if you stopped measuring your worth by how much money you made, how popular you were, or how many things you could acquire, and instead focused on your character? I'll tell you what happens when you do that. You stop worrying about external outcomes. You stop tying your happiness to things you can't control, like the opinions of others or the approval of society. You start to measure your success by how well you live up to your values, not how many achievements you rack up. Let's take wisdom, for example. Wisdom isn't about knowing everything. It's about knowing what's truly important. It's about being clear-headed, understanding your purpose, and making decisions that align with your deeper values. Courage is about facing fears and challenges, not letting obstacles hold you back. Justice means treating others with fairness and respect, and temperance is all about practicing self-control, avoiding excess, and not letting your impulses dictate your actions. Here's a quick exercise. Think about the last time you faced a tough situation. Did you make the wisest choice? Were you brave enough to speak your truth? Were you fair to those involved? Did you act with restraint, or did your emotions get the best of you? I'm not saying you have to be perfect, but focusing on these virtues, day in and day out, will put you on a path that brings real happiness. Not the kind of happiness that's tied to fleeting pleasures, but the deep, grounded joy that comes from living with integrity and purpose. Takeaway: the pursuit of virtue is the pursuit of true happiness. When you make virtue the highest goal, everything else, success, relationships, material things, becomes secondary. And that's when you start living the life you've always wanted. Part 4. Develop emotional resilience. Now let's dive into something everyone needs: emotional resilience. Life throws all kinds of challenges our way. Setbacks, disappointments, loss, failure. And it's easy to get overwhelmed, to feel like you're at the mercy of your emotions. But here's the thing. Stoicism teaches us that we don't have to be victims of our emotions. We can learn to control how we react to them. Emotional resilience is about developing the ability to stay calm and composed, even when life feels like it's falling apart. It's about not allowing your emotions to dictate your decisions or your actions. Instead, you become the observer, able to pause, reflect, and choose how to respond. Here's the tricky part. Emotions are natural. We're human. We feel anger, sadness, joy, fear, frustration, and that's okay. Stoicism doesn't teach us to ignore our emotions. It teaches us to manage them. It's about recognizing that while you can't control what happens to you, you can always control how you choose to respond. Think about a time when something didn't go your way. Maybe you were passed over for a promotion, or you had a disagreement with a friend. Did you let your emotions take over? Did you react impulsively? Or did you pause, reflect, and respond with a clear mind? Here's where the Stoic practice of perception comes in. Stoics believe that our emotions are often the result of how we perceive things. If we think something is catastrophic, we'll feel devastated. But if we reframe the situation by reminding ourselves that setbacks are part of life, that we have the power to control our actions, our emotional response shifts. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're stuck in traffic. Again, the natural reaction might be frustration, anger, or impatience. But a Stoic would ask, what's in my control? You can't change the traffic. But you can control how you respond. Maybe you use the time to listen to a podcast, reflect on your day, or practice gratitude. Instead of letting the situation control your emotions, you take control of your response. Practical exercise. Next time you feel a surge of emotion, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what's in my control here? What's not? This simple practice will help you create a space between the trigger and your reaction, allowing you to choose your response with clarity and calm. Takeaway: emotional resilience isn't about suppressing your emotions. It's about mastering how you react to them. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond. And that's where your power lies. Part 5. Live in harmony with nature. All right, let's talk about living in harmony with nature. Now, this one might sound a bit mystical, but it's really about understanding the world around you and aligning yourself with it. Stoicism teaches us that to find peace, we must live according to nature. Not just nature in the physical sense, but nature in the broader universal sense. What does that mean? Well, it means accepting the way things are. It means realizing that life is full of changes, challenges, and uncertainties, and that's okay. Nature is constantly shifting. Think about the seasons. The trees shed their leaves, the flowers bloom, the sun sets and rises again. It's all part of a bigger cycle that is beyond our control. Now, what's interesting is that we, as humans, often resist the natural flow of life. We try to fight against change. We cling to the past. We fear the future. We want things to stay the same. But life, like nature, is always moving forward. Here's the Stoic perspective. If you fight against the natural flow of life, you create friction. You resist what is. But if you accept that life will change, things will go wrong, people will leave, and sometimes your plans won't work out, you start to live in harmony with nature, and that acceptance brings peace. It's like trying to swim upstream all the time. It's exhausting. But when you stop fighting the current and allow yourself to float downstream, you find that it's a lot easier to navigate the waters of life. Let me give you an example. Have you ever been in a situation where something didn't go the way you wanted? Maybe your plans were disrupted, or you were faced with an unexpected challenge. Did you try to force things to go your way? Or did you take a step back and recognize that sometimes things are meant to unfold as they will, even if it's not what you expected? Living in harmony with nature means accepting change as a part of life, rather than something to fear. It's about working with the flow of life, not against it. Practical exercise. Next time you're faced with a challenge or a situation that doesn't go your way, ask yourself, how can I align myself with the natural flow of this situation? Instead of pushing against it, try to understand it and see what opportunities for growth exist within it. Embrace change rather than resist it. Takeaway. Living in harmony with nature isn't about passive resignation. It's about acceptance and understanding. It's about aligning your actions with the natural flow of life, which can bring you peace and freedom. The more you let go of your need to control everything, the more at ease you'll feel in the world around you. Part 6. Accepting Death, Memento Mori. Now we're diving into something that might be a little uncomfortable to think about. But stay with me. This is one of the most powerful tools in the Stoic arsenal. It's the concept of memento mori. Remember that you will die. Yeah, I know. Not exactly a cheerful thought, but hear me out. This idea isn't meant to make you feel morbid or sad. It's meant to remind you of something incredibly important. Life is precious because it's finite. And when you truly understand the inevitability of death, it changes the way you live. It wakes you up. The Stoics didn't shy away from thinking about death. In fact, they believed that regularly contemplating our mortality actually helps us live better, more meaningful lives. Why? Because it forces us to focus on what truly matters. When you realize that your time is limited, you start to prioritize the things that bring real value, relationships, experiences, and personal growth, rather than getting lost in the pursuit of empty goals or things that don't bring lasting happiness. Let's be real for a second. We all know we're going to die someday. But most of us push that thought out of our minds. We distract ourselves with daily busyness, thinking we have all the time in the world. But that's where the Stoic practice of memento mori comes in. By keeping death in the back of your mind, not in a fear-based way, but as a gentle reminder, you start to live with intention. You stop procrastinating. You start asking yourself, what do I really want to do with my life? Here's an exercise. Take a few moments each day to reflect on your mortality. Think about how precious your time really is. It sounds a little heavy, I know, but I promise it will change the way you live. You'll start appreciating the little things more. the time spent with loved ones, the beauty in everyday moments. And most importantly, you'll start to live on purpose. Now, this doesn't mean you should obsess over death or live in constant fear of it. But it does mean that acknowledging it can help you stop wasting time on things that don't matter and focus on what truly brings meaning to your life. Takeaway: Memento Mori isn't about fear, it's about perspective. Remembering that life is short encourages you to live each day fully, with intention, and with purpose. It helps you prioritize what really matters and make the most of the time you have. Life is fleeting, so make it count. Part 7. Be the observer. Practice mindfulness and presence. We've covered a lot of ground so far, but now we're reaching a step that might just tie everything together for you. This one is about taking a step back, finding stillness, and learning how to truly be present. Stoicism teaches us to be the observer of our thoughts, feelings, and actions, rather than letting them control us. And let me tell you, once you master this, life becomes a lot less chaotic and a lot more meaningful. Here's the thing. In the hustle and bustle of everyday life, we get caught up in the noise. We get swept up in our thoughts, our emotions, the expectations of others, and the endless stream of information that constantly bombards us. We react impulsively. We allow stress, anger, or worry to take over. We forget to pause. But Stoicism teaches us that we don't have to be at the mercy of our emotions or external circumstances. Instead, we can cultivate the ability to step back and observe what's happening inside of us and around us. This is where mindfulness comes in. Being the observer is about creating space between what happens to you and how you choose to respond. Think of it like this. You're not the storm. You're the sky. The storm, your emotions, external events, may pass through, but the sky, your true self, remains calm and unshaken. Here's an example. Think about a stressful situation at work. Maybe you're dealing with a tight deadline or a difficult conversation. Most people will react by feeling anxious, panicked, or frustrated, but the Stoic practice is different. You take a moment to step back, breathe, and ask yourself, what's in my control here? What's not? By doing this, you become an observer, rather than a participant in the emotional chaos. This shift in perspective helps you respond thoughtfully, rather than reacting impulsively. Let me tell you, I've had my own fair share of stressful situations. I used to get caught up in the whirlwind, trying to fix everything and control every outcome. But when I started practicing mindfulness and becoming the observer of my own thoughts, things started to shift. Instead of being swept away by anxiety, I became more centered. I learned to respond with clarity and calm, rather than reacting out of fear or frustration. Practical exercise. Start by taking a few minutes each day to just be still. Sit in silence, focus on your breath, and observe your thoughts without judgment. Don't try to change them or push them away, just notice them. This simple practice will train you to become the observer of your mind, helping you to detach from your thoughts and emotions, and giving you more control over how you respond to life. And here's the best part. As you get better at observing your inner world, you'll begin to notice how much more in control you feel. Life will still throw challenges at you, but instead of being a victim of your circumstances, you'll respond from a place of clarity and peace. Takeaway. Being the observer isn't about detaching from life. It's about fully engaging with it, but from a place of calm and mindfulness. When you take a step back and observe your thoughts and emotions, you free yourself from being controlled by them. You can then choose your response with intention, and that's where your true power lies. Conclusion. The path to lasting transformation. As we close this guide to Stoicism, I want to remind you that what we've explored today isn't just philosophy. It's a practical way of living that can truly transform your life. The Stoic principles are not meant to be learned and forgotten. They're meant to be practiced, internalized, and applied every single day. And by doing that, you're not just learning how to handle life's challenges. You're learning how to embrace life itself, with all its imperfections and uncertainties. Throughout this journey, we've touched on some profound concepts. The dichotomy of control, the power of negative visualization, the importance of virtue as the highest good, the practice of emotional resilience, living in harmony with nature, accepting death as part of life, and finally, learning to be the observer of your thoughts and emotions. These aren't just ideas. They're tools that can empower you to live with more clarity, peace, and purpose. But here's the real truth. The real transformation happens when you begin to live these principles. It's not enough to just know them. You have to live them. Stoicism isn't about being perfect. It's about making progress. Every time you choose to control your reactions, to focus on what you can control, to accept the flow of life, you're getting one step closer to becoming the best version of yourself. Remember, life will always throw challenges your way. Things won't always go as planned, and you'll face obstacles along the journey. But Stoicism teaches us that these obstacles aren't barriers to our happiness. They're the path itself. The obstacle is the way. Each struggle, each setback, is an opportunity to practice virtue, to build resilience, and to grow stronger. Life doesn't need to be perfect for you to live a meaningful, fulfilled life. And I'll leave you with this. Your peace of mind is in your hands. No one else can give it to you. It's not tied to external circumstances, material success, or other people's approval. Your peace comes from within. When you embrace Stoicism, you realize that you have the power to control your thoughts, your reactions, and your attitude, and that's where true freedom lies. So, what's next? It's simple. Start practicing today. Even if it's just one small step, whether it's pausing to reflect on what's in your control, or reminding yourself that life is fleeting, or choosing to observe your emotions instead of reacting to them. Each small step brings you closer to a life of meaning and peace. I want to thank you for taking the time to explore Stoicism with me. This journey is yours to continue. And remember, you don't have to walk it alone. Take these steps one day at a time, and keep coming back to the principles of Stoicism whenever life gets challenging. You've got this. If this guide resonated with you, I'd love to hear how you're applying these principles to your life. Drop a comment below, share your thoughts, and let's keep the conversation going. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on how to live a meaningful life. Take care, stay resilient, and remember, the obstacle is the way.